Hanabiya with their brand new mini album, EP, whatever you want to call it, Hot Topic. We're here to check this out. And of course, there's only two songs from this that I haven't already heard, which is Tokimeki About You, which we're going to check out now. And then I'm also going to do this one, which is called Theme of Hanabiyen-chan, which is 1 minute 39. So we kind of got like a song and possibly half a song. I don't know what this one's going to be to check out, but I'm excited to do these. And I've got to be honest, looking at this, obviously 3 songs have already come out. Iconic, that's the most recent one we got. Then we also have Spicy Queen, which came out back in 2025, and Girls Talk, which came out quite a while ago now. In fact, I think, I'm actually quite surprised that Girls Talk's on this. I'm trying to get the chronology of Hanabiya's songs in my mind to try and work that out. But yeah, look, the main thing is, I'm actually going to say this right now. Unless the 2 songs we're about to check out are absolutely terrible, this could be one of my favourite Hanabiya releases, even up there, because of course Spicy Queen is just straight out one of their heaviest, most engagingly rock songs, but I really enjoyed Iconic. For me, Iconic is one of those songs where it's kind of going to be iconic. It definitely landed that intro, that build up, but it also goes into the heavy parts beautifully. It's a wonderful mix of what we kind of expect from Hanabiya, which is this mixture of these heavy parts, but also like the EDM build-ups that give them a bit more of a dancey feel as well. And then when you look at Girls Talk was an interesting one because this divided a lot of people. I really like that song. I think the song, it did take them in a direction that we're not used to seeing them go, but I don't think that it lost the spirit of what Hanabiya is. I actually think it, to me, just kind of gave us a different side of them. Now, the funny thing is, as someone who, I've got to be honest, I have often said that my favourite thing about Hanabiya is I love Matsuri's songwriting, I love the Matsuri vocals. We all love Yukina, but I come from a place where I've kind of grown to like the scream vocals more than someone who naturally has always gravitated towards scream vocals. But I'm going to say this right now. With exception to Spicy Queen, I'd say this album is leaning surprisingly away from the scream vocals from what we've heard so far. So I'm actually kind of okay with these 2 songs being full on heavy. I'm okay with that. Because I think already this album has shown a real penchant for mixing it up. So I don't know what to expect, but Tokimeki About You, I don't mind. If you want to just go full on crazy in this one, I'm okay with it, Hanabiya. To be honest, I'm sure a lot of the old school long-term fans will be as well because, a lot of people are big Yukina fans. So far, though, I've got to be honest, I really like the balance of what we've heard so far. So, coming into this song, if we're listening to this as a track by track, we'd have heard Iconic first of all. What a brilliant opener. What a brilliant way to open up an album. Spicy Queen, which takes you from Iconic and then just throws everything at you. And then coming from that, we're about to listen to Tokimeki About You. You can imagine where your mindset's going to be. So let's jump into track 3 of Hot Topic. All right, obviously there's no video, but let's just enjoy this together. Let's go. Love that intro. Let's go. That's such a dirty sound. Oh, that bass. The switch in the vocals is brilliant. I'm loving this kind of weird dirty pop rap grunge mix. Oh, that's such a nice switch up from Matsuri to Yukina's vocals there. Yeah, the whole flow of this. But it's the mixture of sounds. And then the way this bursts into Yuki and his vocals. Yeah. Alright, bridge time. What are we going to get for a bridge? What are we going to get for a bridge? Alright. Old school 90s Euro rave.
My heart's racing, my head's crying, my heart is
Nice. Nice. We're gonna do the chorus double time? Yeah, that's great. That's brilliant. I love that they had time to throw in like intuitive sing-along bits as well. That is, well, I was going to say that's how you do an epic album track, but you know what? That could be a single as well. There's so much to write home about on this one. Now, first things first, what I love about this is straight off the bat, I mean, there's so much to talk about the performance and with the songwriting, but can we just also first will say this song is built straight away. Listen to the use of sounds. Listen to the sounds you're using. I mean, the first thing that really grabs you is that kind of dirty low bass. Yeah, it's really sort of nice, but it's kind of got that slightly grungy feel. Really kind of sets you off straight away. I mean, part of the, when you have that kind of slightly distorted bass, from an EQ perspective, it kind of sounds growly and low, but actually that means it's a little bit higher up. It's not as low as, if you imagine a really low bass sound, it's kind of going to be a little bit more sort of, you know, deep and, you know, it's not going to, obviously, and it's not going to quite have that sort of bite that a more gritty distorted bass has. So when you have that more distorted bass, it actually makes it a little bit more nimble. So you get this kind of biting, interesting bass line straight away. And that immediately sets your ears off into like, oh wow, this is going in an interesting direction. Well, actually, from the get-go, the first thing you're hearing, obviously, is the vocals, but you're also hearing that really interesting, like, a very electronic drum beat, actually, that before even the bass comes in. But listening to, like, the snare sound on this, it's all very distorted distorted drums, but again, distorted sounds, but very sort of biting distorted sounds. Yeah, they're not kind of just weird mush of distortion. It's like everything's got, like, a real sort of bite to it, very sharp sounds. You listen to that bass, it's very low, but it's got like a lot of grit to it. It's very sort of dynamic. And then straight away we go into this, and you know, I've said this for a while. Yukina does like sort of three styles of vocals. She does that kind of like the cutesy idol vocal, she does the scream vocal, but she also does this kind of semi-rap thing that I've really liked. I think the first time I heard it was in We Love Sweets. God, it's 3 years since I first heard that. It's been a while. And, you know, like, just hearing that sort of style of vocal from her, I think it really suits her voice because, again, it's one of these things. Again, she's one of those people who she's got a sharpness to her voice. And this seems to be something that's very true of a lot of things with Hana-Biya. I think of a lot of the other metal groups who I struggle to get into, the other groups who have like scream vocals and such. Like a lot of the time it's because they go for these big, like I say, these big distorted growling sounds. Whereas with Hana-Biya, even when they're being loud and screaming and shouting, it's all about these sharp, very rhythmic. Everything's moving quickly. This is why they have so much speed. There's so much dynamic. They sound so much quicker on their feet than other metal bands. Is because the sounds are all sharp and punchy. Again, I think this comes back to Matsuri's style of songwriting, where you can tell she's thinking about having the ideas change. I know we've spoken so much in the comments before about things she said about her style of songwriting, and I've said so many times that the reason why I love Hana-Biya pretty much comes down to that. I very much respect and appreciate, and I know songwriters who work like she does, and it is that kind of mathematical style of songwriting is brilliant because it just means that the ideas keep coming so fluidly. And so again, this is all it just all kind of dribbles down through everything they do here, and that all of their songwriting ideas tend to be quick and dynamic and fast, so each sound has to be sharp. And so Yukino, when she does these little rap bits, they're so beautiful because she is good at doing that kind of sharp, bouncy vocals. That's why she works so well, I think, on songs written by Matsuri. Sorry if that was a lot of ramble, it made sense in my head. And then of course it builds up from here. But then we keep going with the rap. I do. I mean, that bit on its own is brilliant. But like, so we get all of that build up. But what I really like is that we go into the chorus, and it sounds like it's going to be like a Matsuri song chorus, but that's actually just the build up. That's the pre-chorus. And so Matsuri gives us this big, beautiful, like melodic thing that just builds into the punch of then Yukino delivering kind of like the refrain, the bit that everyone's going to charge and sing along to and shout along to. That's great. And so we get through all of that, and I'm thinking, well, okay, that's going to deliver us to a bridge and then a final chorus. And it does, but really all the bridge is just the song breaking down to the beat and then sort of like that rave style beat and then just going faster. And then we go back into the final chorus. And you've heard so many songs before where the final chorus is just a key change and it goes from where it was before to going where it is before, and now everything's a little bit higher and that's how we denote the end of the song. But in this case, it's like there's no key change, there's just a tempo change. It's like we're going to do the exact same thing again, the exact same chorus we did all the times before, but now we're going to make it faster. So the final chorus is just a tempo change, built up from like a little breakdown to the beat, which it's, speeds things up. That's all brilliant. And then again, I love the way they play it out with, like any great chorus does. They finish the chorus with a little bit of an intuitive sing-along tacked on the end, like a little audience participation sing-along. Same chorus, just faster. I have to say, and I mean this in all honesty, this speaks to so much about what I love about Hanabiya's music. Is this Hanabiya's greatest song ever? No. But this is quite a simple song. And I think it would be a mistake to think of this as being a simple song and therefore, it's just a simple throwaway album track. Because what this highlights is even when doing something this simple, they add all these ideas that are, to me, the expressions of what good songwriting is, or at least I should say excited songwriting. Often when I talk about what makes a really well-written song, people tend to think, oh, this is like some highbrow, talking about chord patterns and everything. And there's lots of aspects to songwriting, but probably the one that to me I most love is when you see a song where there's just this feeling of excitement, like there's ideas coming out. It doesn't have to be super technical things. It just has to be you use the tools at your disposal. And as a songwriter, you have so many tools at your disposal. You have key changes, you have tempo changes, you have all these things that you can do. You have use of rap, you have use of singing, screaming. You can do any one of these things. You can have EDM in your song. You can have metal in your song. Anyone who tells you that you shouldn't use any of these techniques because that's not your genre, fuck them. Honestly, you should use what you want, because if you're a songwriter, your job is to use the tools to express what you want however you want to express it. Even if it's just, hey, let's have a great time and headbang. Express it in an interesting way. There's millions of people out there writing songs, express it in an interesting way. And to me, Hanabiya never feels complacent. It always feels like they're trying to express something in a genuinely interesting way. So I listen to this, and it's not a single. It hasn't got a music video. Maybe it'll have one later, but it hasn't got a music video right now. It hasn't got anything like that going on. It's just an album track. And yet here we are listening to this, and it's full of these really interesting ideas that to me say, they could have just put this out. It could have got to the end of the second chorus. Hey, we've got a really good thing. Let's just have a little bit of a breakdown and then have a final chorus and do exactly the same again. But no, it was like, we need to do something for the final chorus. We've got this song that's really great up to this point. Let's be honest, everyone, when we get to the end of the second chorus, we're all really happy thinking we're listening to an awesome song. They could have just left it at that. They throw in a tempo change. So there's an alarm going off over there. I don't think you can hear that, but there's an alarm. Honestly, I just think this is an absolutely superb sign of how to nail a song. How to nail a simple song by throwing in interesting ideas, not being complacent. And again, this is, to me, speaks to why Hannah Beer works so well, because you have a vocalist who, she primarily does screams, but she's got a lot of range. She'll do lots of things. She goes between the cute and the scream and the rap. You've got Matsuri, who's given this fantastic songwriting and herself offers up vocals that have over the years got better and better. I think this is brilliant. I love all 4 of these songs. So I don't know what this last minute 39 is going to be, but it's going to have to be a pretty bad minute and 39 to put me off this album. This is brilliant stuff. This is, I already did at the end of last year, we did the 7th annual awards. This is already a pretty strong contender for the 8th annual awards. This is a good one. Anyway, as always, get in the comments, tell me what you think, and until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these. For now, coffee time. Ciao, ciao.